Alfred wasn't always cruel, but fighting in 2 world wars had left him a changed man. His experiences had burned away all the humanity he had left, until all that remained was hate, resentment, and darkness. When the war ended in 1945, he and his wife, Elaine, settled in New Hampshire. Elaine had hoped the move would make a change in Alfred, but it didn't. Throughout the war, Elaine kept a dog, companionship for the lonely years when Alfred was in Europe. But Alfred had returned and brought with him his hatred, the darkness within him aimed at the only living people in his life, his wife, and with her, the dog. Alfred would leave the house for days at a time, only to return in a drunken rage, often taking his anger out on his wife and the dog. Somehow, the dog was able to sense when Alfred was soon to return, and would hide under Elaine's bed, sometimes hours before the front door would crash open. One day, Alfred left the house, as always, to find alcohol, but this time, he did not return. The days turned to weeks, and the weeks turned to months, until one day, there was a knock on the door. A police officer. Alfred had been found dead. Elaine did not weep, for the years of abuse had robbed her of any affection she had left for Alfred. But something had changed in that house. A darkness had descended, like a shadow, just mere inches from perception. The dog noticed it too, for from that day onward, he never left the underside of her bed, even to eat. Day turned to dusk, and dusk turned to night, yet the darkness never left, a wall of gloom which hung heavy in the air. That night, Elaine went to bed with a heavy heart. With her dog still cowering under her bed, she finally fell unconscious. Elaine was woken by the sound. It was the faucet in the bathroom, she thought to herself. She looked under her bed for support, but her dog would not budge. She had to do this by herself. Reluctantly, she got up, and she made her way through the gloom of night, down the dark hallways, to the bathroom door. The bathroom door was shut. She held her breath and slowly opened the door. The moment the door swung open, it stopped. She looked at the sink with astonishment. It was dry. Staring at the sink, she wondered to herself if she had begun to lose her mind. But there was nothing for it, so she made her way through the dark hallways and climbed back into bed. She took one last look under her bed. Her dog was still there, still cowed, and eventually she fell asleep. Elaine woke again, this time her heart bounding in her chest, the sound, again, coming from the bathroom. Terrified, she looked under her bed, but her dog was gone. Something was not right. He hadn't left there since the day Alfred had died. With her heart still racing in her chest, she stood up and called for her dog. Nothing. She had to find him. She had to stop the sound, the tapping sound of a coffin sealed by hammer and nail. So she drew what strength she had left and made her way through the veil of darkness, like a thick fog barring her way. What strength she had left was not nearly enough to allow her to call for her dog again. So quietly, she crept through the hallway and made it to the door again. Once again, it was closed. Had she closed it? She could not remember. She looked down at her feet and saw a sliver of light beneath the door. The light was on. She knew in her heart that she had not turned it on. She forced herself forward, her hand wrapped around the door handle. A spark of fear shivers down her back. Something was not right. Slowly, she turned the handle, breath catching in the air, and swung the door open. And there, in front of her, the source of the sound. It was her dog, hung by a chain, cut in two, blood dripping on the floor. Her scream echoed through the house as she felt herself fall. The world went black, her mind falling through depths of darkness, until she thought no more.